If you are a Marvel fan or if you are an MCU fan, then you have to watch WandaVision. It's an absolute necessity for the future of the MCU. This episode was absolutely mind-blowing. Episode 8 was really important in the lore and context of WandaVision because it got deep into the character of Wanda Maximoff and it properly explained her origins with an emotional twist. So hello and welcome to WandaVision. My name is Soham and in this quick video, we are going to talk about WandaVision episode 8 and why is it so necessary and what all things are explored here. But before that, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with a bunch of other pop culture related stuff. With that being said, let's begin the video. Now the episode started with the Salem witchcraft trials where the character of Agatha Harkness is about to be executed by the other witches because she has broken some sort of a law. Now this is directly out of the comics. The only difference here is that in the comics, usually Agatha Harkness is an old lady, is an old witch, but here she is in a regular normal age counterpart. Moreover, I have not read these comics in a very long time, so I was not able to really remember who the character of this mother really is. So I will probably have to go back and read the comics once again to realize or understand who the mother character really is here. And we have a beam struggle here, and the colors are kind of important here because the witches, the other witches and this mother have a blue colored beam. And the power of Agatha Harkness is purple and she's taking over the powers of the other witches, and this beam struggle kind of reminded me of Harry Potter. Or on second thoughts, this beam struggle can be equated to a combination between Harry Potter and Dragon Ball Z beam struggles. If you have seen both these series, then you definitely understand what I'm talking about here. Moreover, she's easily able to overwhelm all these other witches, and as a result, she absorbs the powers of all these witches and they are drained of their energy. Again, this really reminded me of the character called Michael Morningstar from the Ben 10 franchise. So there's a lot of different Easter eggs, references to comics and various different mediums going on here. Moreover, it is revealed here that throughout the entire series, Agatha Harkness was influencing all these things, all these different things. There is references to the real Pietro, and she finally name drops a couple of different magical items and magical incarnations which are very important for the lore of the magic-based Marvel characters. For example, the magical runes. Now of course, even though Wanda is a very powerful witch, she has no custom or official training in these matters, so she is really not able to understand what exactly is going on here. Agatha Harkness really goes on to explain to her what different kind of magics are there, from transformation to mind control and the other stuff, including the incarnations. But it is revealed to us towards the very end of the episode that Wanda's magic is a bit different from the other magic users, from the other witches, because she is the user of chaos magic, a very different kind of a magic which really doesn't use that much of incarnations or stuff like that. And towards the end of the episode, we also get the name drop of Scarlet Witch. But before all of that, something very interesting happens here, and that is the fact that Agatha Harkness is asking Wanda as to how did she manifest all these powers. These are very strong powers for which you need years and years of study and practice in order to master all of them. But here there is Wanda Maximoff who is just using all these powers to do soap opera and making breakfast for dinner. So Agatha Harkness is kind of annoyed at her and she wants to know the true origin of her power, and hence in order to find out her real truth, she makes Wanda go through all her childhood experiences to adulthood experiences. We go back to Sokovia and we finally learn of her obsession of the sitcoms and how she and her entire family was watching the sitcom called Dick Van Dyne. Now obviously I have never seen this thing, but for the people who are fans of these shows, it's a really good Easter egg, so good for you all. And yes, it was this sitcom that inspired the look of the very first episode of WandaVision, and we get the direct references of the scene that Wanda enacted here in her own reality inside the Hex. This was really interesting and fun to watch, but the scene abruptly changes when they are attacked by the rebel forces and everyone else. And we once again get that one scene from Avengers Age of Ultron where Wanda and Pietro are ducking inside a bed and just right in front of them is a missile from the Stark Industries. But here something is a little different, even though it is not explicitly stated here, but it seems like the bomb actually didn't go off because of the powers of baby Wanda. It was her reality bending magic and paradoxical hex magic that was actually able to stop the bomb from diffusing and killing them right there and then. So basically Agatha Harkness realizes that all of her powers are triggered by her loneliness, so she makes her go through all the different time frames of her life, and the next time frame is from her experimentation days where she enlisted as a volunteer, and as a result she became a test subject. Again, all of these things we have seen them from Avengers Age of Ultron, but we get a more in-depth explanation to all these things, and we once again visit Tesseract and how the Mind Stone interacted and rekindled the powers of Scarlet Witch. Yes, the name drop of Scarlet Witch appears later on. Moreover, there's a very interesting scene that takes place here when Wanda is about to touch the Tesseract or the Mind Stone, and it is revealed to her inside the yellow energy and everything. She is able to see a figure. And what is that figure? Well, that is the figure of the Scarlet Witch, the traditional classic Scarlet Witch from her comic counterpart. That particular silhouette is very important here. But you know what? This scene also reminded me of another Marvel based character, and that is the Phoenix Force. When Jean Grey finally got her Phoenix powers, this particular scene really reminded me of that particular thing. I guess this was a reference, kind of a nod to all of these things, because yeah, of course we do not have any Magneto here. The character of Magneto will probably come later on in the MCU, but here we do not get any major references whatsoever. And next we again jump timelines and we arrive after the end of Age of Ultron movie, where Vision is finally alive and Wanda and Vision kind of connect there for the very first time after the death of Pietro and everyone else. This was a very heartwarming scene, and really the performance of Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany here were top notch. This was really good. Moreover, there are some dialogues here which really stuck a chord to me. This was really good stuff. And as a result of all these things, Agatha Harkness is able to realize that all of her powers, all of these things manifested as a result of her loneliness, and finally we arrive to the final destination of their tour from the back, and that is the SWORD headquarters. Now this plays out very much like the West Coast Avengers, something which I talked about in my prior video in regards to the appearance of a certain character called the White Vision. This storyline is pretty similar here, and Wanda basically wants to take back the body of Vision because she wants to give him a proper burial. It is not really in her mind to reincarnate the character of Vision, but here she just wants to give him a proper burial. But the director of SWORD is not ready to do something like that, and he reveals to Wanda the truth about Vision's body and how they are taking him down in order to make a perfect weapon. All of these things are happening here, and Wanda is once again grief-stricken because she does not actually steal the body of Vision here like we believed in the prior episodes. And after all of this, she finally goes to Westview, and it is explained to us why did she went there, because it was Vision all along. Vision had actually bought a plot there and he wanted to grow old with Wanda at that particular place. And that was the amalgamation point of everything, that was the starting point of everything. And that is when Wanda got overwhelmed with her grief and she created the Hex. She sucked in the entire city of Westview, and that's how we got to see the creation of the Hex Vision, which was basically an amalgamation of her thoughts and everything. And because of her obsession with sitcom, we got the 1950s version of the set, which was present in the first episode of WandaVision. And at the end of all of this, we see Agatha Harkness, who is just clapping from the other side, watching the performance of Wanda through the views of the sitcom audience. And towards the end of the episode, we see the twins asking her mother's help, and Wanda comes out to the street to see that Agatha Harkness has put a leash on both the twins and they are being pulled apart and choked by Agatha Harkness here. And here she finally reveals that Wanda has immense reserves of chaos magic and she's a legendary figure, and she finally name drops the name of the Scarlet Witch. This is something which we see in the memories of Wanda while she is being influenced by the Mind Stone. Now here some people might be confused by the fact that how is Agatha Harkness able to understand that she is the Scarlet Witch? Well, this is the comic books we are talking about, and there have been various different incarnations of origin story. One such origin story is that the Scarlet Witch is a legendary figure, sometimes often called a Nexus being. That is the reason why we got the Nexus ad a couple of episodes back, and here it can be tied to the lore of the MCU pretty well as well, that she's not quote-unquote an exact mutant here, but rather she's a Nexus being, a legendary figure, a legendary witch who was even once a candidate for the Sorcerer Supreme position, and that is one of the major reasons why we have all these leaks surrounding Doctor Strange appearing towards the finale of the series. This was absolutely amazing. This episode was one hell of a ride, and I'm so happy that we are witnessing all these things in real time. And please, for the love of everything, do not miss the post-credit or the mid-credit scene of this particular episode, where it is revealed beyond a shadow of doubt that yes, this series has been implementing some of the West Coast Avengers comic storyline, and here it is revealed to us for the very first time the weapon that Hayward was actually trying to use, and that is none other than White Vision, a synthetic version of Vision who is devoid of any emotions or anything else. And one of the most important points to note here is that for a very long time, Hayward was not able to find the power source to power this particular being, but now they are in possession of the Stark drone that they sent to the Hex for the very first time, which was manipulated by Wanda's magic, and they are using this particular magic as the power source for this new Vision body, that is the White Vision, which is kind of similar because the original Vision also utilized the powers of the Mind Stone. So yeah, this is all interconnected in a way. This was one hell of an episode, and I'm just so glad to Marvel Studios for giving us this amazing ride of a series. So that's it for today guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do mention your thoughts in the comment section below. So that's it for today guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel for more. This is WonderYZ and I'll see you soon in the next episode.